Okay. All right. So now I. What the fuck ever, right? Um. Uh. Now let's go into. Well, let's talk some more about inverting the top-down system. So, first, the only audience I could really address at this point are people who understand that all these platforms are dominated. All these platforms it's all controlled narrative. All these platforms are dominated by the popular and trending channels. You know. So I guess like maybe I can try to get creative and run the video like this. Like, okay, everybody who thinks that these platforms like BitChute are not controlled and dominated by the popular and trending channels, raise your hand. Okay, that's because you're a fucking idiot. Okay, so it's like if you don't believe that these platforms are dominated and monopolized by the popular and trending channels, well then there's nothing more to discuss. You're just going to keep believing that these guys are anti-establishment. So there's no point. Just go away. Why even hang around? You just believe whatever the fuck. It's ridiculous that you would not understand that BitChute and all these other platforms, they are monopolized by the popular and trending channels. Okay, and if you can get that far where you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, so what, right? Well, I mean, there anyways. So okay, let's look at what is the cause then of, because these popular and trending channels, they supposedly have some cause, right? It's some cause. Well, what is the cause? If you believe that their cause is just for everyone, to benefit all people, raise your hand. Well, that's because you're a fucking idiot. Like if you believe that their cause is to benefit those most negatively impacted by the establishment, raise your hand. Well, that's because you're a fucking idiot. You're not paying attention. Okay, so somebody tell me, who are those that are most negatively impacted by the establishment? Well, it's the middle class and the working class. Yeah, it's everybody but the low class, like the homeless and all that. Well, no, it's them too. Well, who is more? Who of those groups are more negatively impacted? The middle class or the homeless? Well, and anybody that would try to debate, like there is some debate to be had, all of you are gone too. Like, why are you just go fucking, like, stick your head up your fucking ass somewhere else, please. It's obvious. Again, this is third grade level intellect here. And if you can't keep up with third grade level intellect, like, you are a fucking turd that needs to be flushed down the fucking toilet. You're part of the problem. So since we've established that there are people that are more negatively impacted by the establishment than others, and we can also pretty much see who those people are that are most negatively impacted by the establishment, which would be like the homeless elderly eating out of dumpsters in every major city across the country. Those are the people most negatively impacted by the establishment. Well, then what are all these so-called anti-establishment people doing? What are they talking about? Because they're not talking about those people at all. It's obvious what they're doing. They're selling Coke versus Pepsi. It's all product placement, sellout bullshit. All this stuff that Bill Hicks was warning people about, all the same stuff that Frank Zappa was warning people about. You got all these sellouts that are dominating everything, just like they were back in the culture war during the Frank Zappa era. It's all been a culture war. All these sellouts are continuing to dominate everything. And all these fucking stupid people that choose ignorance are choosing to remain blind to this. I forgot where I was, what the point of this video was. I guess it's the same point as the previous too. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I guess it's kind of beating a dead horse. Unfortunately, yeah, no, people are not going to. They choose not to understand this because, yeah, going back to the top, inverting the top-down system. That's the only anti-establishment. That's the only authentic anti-establishment stance. That's it, is to invert the top-down system. It needs to be completely inverted. And it's the top-down system that has crumbled every empire in history. The fall of every empire throughout history is because the top-down system corrupts. It always has, it always will. To invert the top-down system is the only solution worth discussing. Is anyone discussing it though? No. Have you even heard the phrase inverting the top-down system? I haven't. I have never heard it. I came up with it, but I've never heard anybody talking about it. And if you claim that you have, find the video or the link. Find the person that's using the phrase invert the top-down system. In those words, inverting the top-down system. Nobody's. Oh, and that gets me to the point of this video. I remember now. So these greatest hits channels, they monopolize and dominate every platform. Okay. And they're not talking about inverting the top-down system. They're not discussing that at all. And the thing is that they are never going to, until it becomes popular and trendy to do so. Once it becomes popular and trendy to discuss the inversion of the top-down system, then and only then will your popular and trending channels start talking about it. Only once it becomes popular and trendy. Whether that popularity and trending is astroturfed or not, it doesn't matter. This is the only time they will discuss inverting the top-down system. Otherwise, it won't. They'll be talking about the Jays. They'll be talking about, whatever. You name it, Anything but inverting the top-down system. And that's all they ever talk about, is any and everything but inverting the top-down system. And inverting the top-down system is the only anti-establishment discussion. That's the only one. That's it. If you're anti-establishment, then the logical approach is to address those most victimized by the establishment. That's the only logical anti-establishment approach. And this is not debatable. It's not even debatable. How can you rationalize anything other than that? How can you say that an anti-establishment movement should not start by addressing those most negatively impacted by the establishment? You can't. It's illogical. It's illogical if you're for an anti-establishment movement to not address the people most negatively impacted by the establishment. And if you're not interested in what I'm talking about, then you're not truly anti-establishment. You just have a resentment because the establishment isn't catering to your needs. That's the only. There is no altruism at all. It doesn't matter as long as the establishment is meeting your needs. You're okay with it. If it isn't, then that's when you're anti-establishment. It's like, That's not a cause. That's a rebel without a cause. The rebel without a cause. The only logical cause to be anti-establishment is to invert the top-down system, to address those most negatively impacted by the establishment. And if that's not your concern, then you're not anti-establishment. No matter what you can say you are all day long. You can brand yourself anti-establishment all day long. But if it's not based in inverting the top-down system, then you're not anti-establishment at all whatsoever. You only care about yourself and those that are like you. You don't care about anyone else, and that's not anti-establishment. You're just like the establishment. So, anyways, this is all completely relevant because, and a person can rationalize that what I'm talking about is irrelevant. That's because they can't handle the truth. The truth is that all these platforms are based in anti-establishment. Like BitChute is supposedly anti-establishment, and so is Odyssey and Rumble. But when you look at their content, it's all milquetoast. It's all milquetoast. It's whitewashed. It's not true anti-establishment. Again, the only true anti-establishment position is to invert the top-down system. Complete inversion of the top-down system. And what's funny to me is the masses of so-called anti-establishment that are fake will rationalize this away, dismiss it as though, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or it's somehow unimportant what I'm talking about. It's unimportant what I'm talking about, but the anti-establishment movement is somehow important. Why? If it's not to invert the top-down system, why would the anti-establishment movement be important at all? And this is when people like this are backed into a corner and they have to start explaining their reasoning. That's when they start, just devolving into like, well, all those people at the bottom are just a bunch of lazy, mentally ill, drug addicted, on and on. So then you see it's all a class thing to them. They just want more for their particular class or faction of people. They feel that their own middle class or middle faction or gamma tribe is the one that needs that's and it's all bullshit. So they're against inverting the top-down system. Anybody who's against inverting the top-down system is for the establishment. Inverting the top-down system is the only logical action to that's anti-establishment. Inverting the top-down system. But they never want to talk about this at all. But they want to talk about how the voting system is fake and rigged and how nobody's coming to save you. And, it's funny how not very many of them want to talk about how the money system is fake and rigged. Follow the money. Follow the money. Why would they not want to talk about the money system being fake and rigged? It should be pretty obvious. It's all about self-interest. Everything comes down to confirmation bias. It's all about me. My, me, me, my. Everybody's just selfish pigs. They're all just selfish pigs. Nobody cares about addressing those most negatively impacted by the establishment. Nobody cares about that. They just care about themselves, how they personally are negatively impacted by the establishment. And if you think that that's okay, if you think that that's the approach to, that's the anti-establishment approach, well, you can think whatever you want, But good luck with making any headway in your so-called anti-establishment movement. Like, the only people that you're going to attract are other selfish people. who only care about themselves, and they're going to be like, yeah, that's right. I mean, it won't. It'll be limited to more than that. Only those selfish people that can afford the luxury of joining your cause, yeah, which would typically be the middle class. Yeah. The way that all the pattern works with everything is it's just a bunch of middle class people complaining that they don't have enough. That's not anti-establishment. That a large mass of so-called middle-class people are just complaining that their water is poison, that their air is poison, that their food is poison. That's not anti-establishment, and that movement is never going to go anywhere because it's only about that small fraction of people in the country or the world. It's never going to go anywhere. I mean, you can believe that it's going to go big. It's going to do big things. You can believe that. And if I were a betting man and were to gamble on that, I would bet against you. I would bet against your odds. Like, you will lose. If all you care about is your own middle class echo chamber, and you're making big claims of how, you know, it's an anti-establishment movement that's going to, you know, clean the water and clean the air and remove the GMOs from the food. Like, you're like you're insane. You're a lunatic. You really are. Oh, well, it's not the middle class, it's the middle class and the working class. You only care about the working class so that you can have people to clean your toilets. Anybody that's below you, the only reason you include them is so that it all supports the top-down system. Anybody that you include in your tribe, the only reason you're including them is to continue to support the top-down system. That you have someone below you that'll clean your toilets and make your bed and flip your hamburgers and mow your lawns and stuff like that. That's all you care about is yourself. So it's never gonna, anything that's not altruistic is never gonna go anywhere. Altruism is like the ultimate, is the only cause is altruism. You know, there's a quote that isn't mine that I brought up many times in the past that it says that the short-sighted embark on the dishonest path, the wise on the honest path, because the wise know the truth, that in helping others, we help ourselves. In hurting others, we hurt ourselves. So we are to blame. We can point at the capstone all day long till infinity, eternal, that it's all the capstone's fault. It's not true. Invert the top-down system. That's the only help others. In helping others, we help ourselves. That's the way natural law works. In helping others, we help ourselves. That's called altruism. There is no altruistic movement going on. They try to mask these movements as altruistic, but funny how they always ignore those most negatively impacted by the establishment while they wear their anti-establishment badge and peacock all around, popular and trending on BitChute and Odyssey and Rumble and YouTube. They're all fakes and frauds, every last fucking one of them. Whatever, man.